So ladies and gentlemen, with that said, it is my distinct honor to introduce to you a fellow veteran, a man that understands what duty and service to others truly means. Please join me in welcoming United States Congressman Brian Babin.
I've never felt safer in my life. This is really an honor for me to come here, and this is true. Lieutenant, thank you for that introduction. I followed this case. I was very interested in it. And I don't know how many of y'all heard about this ridiculous thing up in Washington, where there was a painting hanging in the Capitol that had policemen portrayed as pigs. And this was kind of a big bone of contention. It was a political deal, unfortunately, but there was those of us that serve in Congress. There's 435 of us in the House and 100 of us in the U.S. Senate, and the U.S. Capitol Police take care of us. And every day they had to walk past this painting that portrayed police officers as pigs. And several of us, I'm an old guy, but I felt like that painting needed to come down. So I took it down. Me and a friend of mine from California, Dana Rohrbacher, he's a California colleague, and we pulled it down off the wall, and we courteously took it back to the member of Congress who had hung it up there, who represented Ferguson, Missouri, by the way. And we asked him courteously not to put it back up. He did. He put it back up. And then so we went to the Speaker of the House, and we knew that it was in violation of the rules of the House of Representatives. And so they ruled that it was out of order. The painting came down, and thank goodness it is not back up again. But we have seen an endangerment of police officers' lives over the last few years, like I have never seen in my life. And, you know, I was raised in Beaumont, Texas. I was born in Port Arthur, and I've been living in Southeast Texas all my life, except when I served overseas in the Air Force. And my dad, one of the first things my dad taught me, Chief, you know, if you have a little altercation, a police officer wants to ask you some questions, you never, ever give him any lip. You never give him any problem. You obey everything he says, and you obey respectfully. And we have seen that type of philosophy become passé, if you would, that it is no longer the proper thing to do, that it's okay to resist arrest and to resist and be discourteous to police officers. I think that is absolutely wrong, and I think it has endangered the lives of many, many officers across this great nation of ours. And we've also seen a doubling of the number of police killings and ambush-style killings this past year. And I think you can lay that to the blame of some of this philosophy that we've been dealing with. But now I'm going to get on with my speech. Again, I want to thank you for having me here. My heartfelt thanks goes out to each one of you for your courageous, selfless service to your communities. And there's a lot of communities down there. I represent 9 different counties. 8 of those counties are rural. I live in Woodville up in Tyler County, Texas. But we have a lot of communities stacked one on the other down here in Harris County. And I want to thank each of you from these various communities for what you do. It's a noble, honorable service and a great career path. And I know it can be thankless and extremely dangerous, as we just mentioned. But please know that you are all in my heart and my mind, and most of the folks that I associate with, you are heroes, every one of you, each one of you men and women in here. In Texas, we're blessed with some of the finest law enforcement officers in the nation. And now more than ever, we have to show you our gratitude. and appreciation. We owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude. Please know that I stand in strong solidarity with you and always will, and with your families. And I offer each of you my unwavering commitment, attention, and support. And I personally could not be more thankful and proud of you and the service that you do to our community. And this is for police officers all across our land. I speak not only to you, but to everyone. I had the great honor and privilege of going to Baton Rouge shortly thereafter. After there was a terrible shooting, police shooting there. I was there for they had a flood shortly thereafter after the shooting, and I was over there observing some of the flood damage. But I had the privilege of meeting the sheriff, the police officers, and some of the Louisiana troopers as well. And you know what happened in Dallas. So this happens everywhere, and we have to make sure that we stop it. It's hard to express my outrage and contempt for those who have incited this war, and I call it a war, of hatred and violence towards our nation's law enforcement officers. Too many of your fellow officers have had their lives taken as a result of this evil. Police officers take an oath to protect and to serve, and it's time that they receive the same level of commitment and protection in return from the American public. As each of you put your lives on the line every day for our safety, we must do more to stop this hatred being directed at our law enforcement personnel. And tragically, such violence is once again, as Lieutenant Doris said, has hit the Houston region with a senseless murder of Harris County Precinct 3 Assistant Chief Deputy Constable Clint Greenwood. Chief Deputy Greenwood was a respected and committed 30-year law enforcement veteran of the Houston area, and I'm sure many of you knew him and worked with him for many of those years that he was giving service to this area. This marked yet another painful moment in our community after yet another intentional killing of a Texas law enforcement officer. So my prayers go up. I know that Ms. Greenwood is not here, but please, you folks that know her, convey to her my heartfelt sympathy, and I commiserate with her, and I have prayed for her and will continue to pray for her and her family, the rest of their family, through this very difficult time. And as I said, we're blessed with some of the best law enforcement officers in the country right here. This was on full display in the aftermath of Deputy Greenwood's murder. I would like to express my deepest appreciation and admiration to all of the Texas and federal law enforcement officers who worked so very diligently in getting to the bottom of this tragic and senseless murder. Worked right here in this building, right here in this room. And I want to tell you how great my admiration is for you. My hat goes off to the Baytown Police Department, the FBI, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Houston Police Department, the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas Rangers, Harris County Sheriff's Department, and Harris County District Attorney. And have I missed anyone, Chief?
Yes.
Who?
Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco.
Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco and Firearms. Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that. That wasn't on here, but you are to be commended as well. I know there was a heck of a lot of police gumshoe work that was going on. And my good friend Brandon Bess, who is not here today, I think he's off somewhere else at a seminar or something. He texted me, was not going to be able to be here, but he was keeping me a little bit apprised of what was going on. And I also am the subcommittee chairman of the Space Subcommittee in the House of Representatives. And he told me that there was a group that went over and talked with some of the scientists and technicians at Johnson Space Center, which helped crack this case. And I was very happy to hear that. But in your honor, all of you folks and all of those departments that I just mentioned, I have already submitted a statement in the Congressional Record, which will stand as long as the USA and this great republic of ours stands. It will be there in our archives and in the Congressional Record. I'm thanking each agency for their role in this investigation, because I'm telling you, I really was surprised this thing was cracked as fast as it was. I thought it would be a long time before we would get to the bottom of this thing. But while we continue to mourn the loss of another one of our brave Texas law enforcement officers, your hard work and tireless efforts have helped bring healing and closure to the Greenwood family and to the entire law enforcement community here. So I want to tell you also that I'm here to serve you. My office has an open door policy, and I want to know how we can help you in any way, whether it be through problems with the federal government, whether through the military, through anything that we can do, grants. I want to see our law enforcement officers and brave and courageous men and women have all the tools necessary that they need to do the important work that you do. And I feel the same way about the military as well. I actually served in the Army as an enlisted man before I was an Air Force officer. And you know, our military and our men in blue, police officers, put it on the line every single day and every single night. And I appreciate you more than you know. So, for everyone here, I want to thank for your commitment and your service. And I want to tell you how much we appreciate, from the bottom of my heart, all that you have done to protect our community, for solving this case, and for what you do and will do in the future. I want to ask God to bless you and protect our entire law enforcement community and comfort the families who have lost loved ones like the Greenwoods. And I want to thank you again for letting me come up here and present these certificates of appreciation to you. So God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.